The 60-vote threshold having not been achieved, the bill upon reconsideration is not passed.
The U.S. government is on the brink of its first federal shutdown in almost 7 years, with less than an hour until the deadline for Congress to reach a compromise. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Devin Bartolotta. We've got team coverage tonight with Erica Brown in Washington, D.C., where lawmakers seem to be at a stalemate over health care funding. And
back here at home, Rachel Hanley talked to those worried about how they might be impacted. But we begin this evening with Erica on Capitol Hill.
Sharice and Devin, we are headed towards a government shutdown after the Senate failed to pass a bill that would extend federal funding through mid-November. Congress remained deadlocked over that federal funding, with health care as the key sticking point. But after that vote, some lawmakers remained optimistic that they could eventually reach a deal.
On this vote, the yeas are 55 and the nays are 45.
A government shutdown is set to take effect after the Senate failed to pass a short-term spending bill. Republicans pushed for a measure that extends federal funding at its current levels until mid-November. But Democrats demanded the bill include an extension of Affordable Care Act benefits expiring this year and reverse cuts to Medicaid.
Senate Democrats said no. Why? Because far-left interest groups and far-left Democrat members wanted a showdown with the president.
We need to deal with this health care crisis now, not later. But the Republican bill fails to do that.
President Trump weighed in before the vote Tuesday afternoon.
A lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things.
Furloughs and potential layoffs will halt some government operations, but benefits like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security will continue, although there could be delays. The FDA, USDA, and CDC will continue running in a limited capacity, and essential workers like U.S. military, TSA workers, and air traffic controllers must continue to work without pay. Now, in addition to disruptions to non-essential government services, economists warn that a government shutdown could cost the U.S. economy billions of dollars per week. Reporting from Capitol Hill, Erica Brown, WWL Louisiana.
And here locally, there are other concerns, not just for government workers, but those who rely on services.
So Rachel Hanley shows us how many are feeling as the possibility of that shutdown looms.
The last government shutdown dragged on for 35 days. Terrence Johns, a local USDA employee, remembers it well.
You would think that debt holders would understand, hey, you're on furlough and all of that, but a lot of us had to go out and pick up extra jobs during that time.
With the threat of another shutdown, he's concerned for himself and his colleagues. There are more than 30,000 federal workers in Louisiana, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. Besides the threat of furloughs and late paychecks, this time the Trump administration has also hinted they're at risk of layoffs. In a memo obtained last week by CBS News, it tells federal agencies to use the shutdown as a, quote, opportunity to consider a reduction in force notices.
It's a chaotic time. You know, hopefully we'll all make it through this time and be safe on the other side.
People who depend on federal services are also worried. Tracy Riley volunteers with veterans and served in the Army herself.
I believe that we're going to have families thrown into even more harsh poverty levels than the military currently has.
The Department of Veterans Affairs says VA health services won't be interrupted if there's a shutdown. But other programs, like those that help veterans transition into civilian life, will be.
We end up volunteering countless hours for veterans who have been waiting 40, 50, 60 years to be approved. We're going to have more of that.
The shutdown will begin at midnight Wednesday if Congress doesn't agree on a budget.
I hope they would keep in mind, our elected officials, on both sides of the aisle, that we have American people that are in these federal jobs that are helping to make America run.
For their sake, Johns hopes that if there is a shutdown, it won't last long. Rachel Handley, WWL Louisiana.
A government shutdown would also mean the National Flood Insurance Program will be halted. If you already have a policy, that will not be affected, but you won't be able to renew it until Congress comes to an agreement. Again, that deadline is less than an hour away. We'll keep you updated on if a deal is reached before our show ends, but make sure to tune in to the WWL Louisiana Morning News for the very latest, starting at 5 a.m.